One of the questions I often get is, why bother doing Tai Chi? It's an ancient Chinese martial art. What's the point? Beyond just, the basic exercises, slow movement, which is kind of a slow gymnastics that keeps you healthy. Well, the reality is, if you start integrating Tai Chi into your daily life, it changes the way you move and it changes the way you interact with the world around you. So this is what I want this particular video series to be about. The practical life lessons that we can get out of Tai Chi. Most of them have to do with essentially how you behave, how you sit in your own body as you move around the world, and how you interact with objects in your world or other people. So there's a few core principles that if you adhere to them throughout your life, it will essentially change the way you live. And the first one and most important one is posture. And posture really is all about where your head sits in relationship to the rest of the body. How is the weight of your head carried by your body? And the one thing that we see most as people age is that head stooping forward, moving forward. This is also a habit of people who tend to be very much in their head thinking, like, right? Your head leads the body. The problem is your head is extremely heavy. So the minute you lean forward or your head stoops forward, what's happening is the rest of the body has to compensate for that, because actually your head is pushing you or pulling you forward, so you're constantly ready to fall. That creates tension. It means not just tension in the body, but it means that there's the tension of being on the brink of falling at all times. This is not a sustainable position. This requires energy in order to stand like this. Here, when the weight of the head is over the rest of the body, is a much more efficient way and much more relaxed way of holding the weight of the head. And it means that if the head is up, if the posture is correct, now everything else can relax because you're not using tension in the body in order to hold the head up. So strength, lengthening, essentially straightening up. So it's not the same kind of posture as when the nuns would wrap you on the knuckles to make your hip stand up. It's not this pushing upwards, it's holding everything in order to be straight. It's literally just aligning the head with the spine. And now you can feel that the weight of the head goes through the spine, through the hips, into the feet. Right? So it's much more relaxed. I don't have to tighten everything up. And it's the opposite. By doing this, everything can now hang. And it's the structure of the body itself which is holding you up instead of muscular tension. So if my head is up, right, it's now balanced, my shoulders can relax. My belly can relax. Or when I breathe in, I can take nice, deep, long breaths. Because my head is up and I can relax. I don't have to use tension. See, the shoulders can be relaxed. The arms can just hang. Everything is loose because now I'm balanced. And it all starts with the head. So in Tai Chi, there's always this emphasis on that proper posture, which is immediately followed with emphasis on the feet. Where are your feet? Because that's the relationship that you want to keep in mind, head and feet. The body is essentially the link between those 2 points as you move through the world, right? So when I'm walking, I want to think, where are my feet compared to this line of weight going through the body that starts at my head? So in a lot of the Tai Chi exercises, right, you have this kind of walking where the stepping is small, right? The length of the step is short, because what I'm trying to do is to prevent falling forward onto that front foot, because if my leg is not strong enough to support me, I'm going to fall. If there's a banana peel, I'm going to slip and fall. So we want to keep the relationship between the head and the feet as vertical as possible. So when you walk, you take slightly smaller step, right? It's a much more regal way of moving, actually, because you're stepping without leaning forward, without you're letting your body move from side to side. You're nice and elevated, and your feet find you underneath you, so that you're nice and supported, so the whole body is supported. So it's a constant attention, especially at the beginning. You want to constantly think about, okay, well, is my head up and resting over my skeleton, essentially, is is my body supporting my head, as opposed to being here is my head leaning forward. So it's training yourself to having that head up and resting on top of the body, right? It's actually it should feel more relaxed. It's not, again, it's not, like military attention. It's the opposite. It's relaxing. It's letting the structure of the body take up the weight of the head, and then we relax. It's really important. It's a small thing, but it's really important, this idea of posture, because we also see later on as we age, and the muscles start to essentially weaken. And so this is where you start seeing postures like this. There's nothing normal or natural about growing old and having a low posture. That's not fate. You can actually be old and have an upright posture. It's simply that as we get out of the habit of making ourselves stand up straight, the muscles atrophy. So then you don't have the muscular strength to hold yourself up, and you start going down. As long as your vertebrae are not fused, you can regain that ability. You can stand back up. You just have to keep thinking about it and just correct yourself and just kind of check in from time to time and go, oh, nope, up, up, up. Right? It's like in the Tai Chi classics, they talk about it's like the head is being suspended by a string. So that's the feeling that you want to have. Again, elevation, extension. It's not tightness. It's I'm now longer. Right? So that's crucial. We're going to come back to this idea of posture, of the vertical, because that's going to be our reference point for everything else that we do. Whenever we pick something up or we move something, we want to make sure that we have this kind of verticality, because that's the verticality that we're going to use in order to generate power. Posture, proper posture is at the core of everything else that happens, this verticality, right? So we're up, shoulders are relaxed. Breath can be nice and deep because you're relaxed in the body. This is not posture that comes from tension. It's posture that comes from proper alignment of the head over the spine and over the body. So everything else can hang from there. So that's the first step, posture.